Hi guys, it's Lily. I've got a few things that I've been making that I wanted to share with you, and I thought that I would do it now and get on the Love Summer Art bandwagon. There's lots of other YouTube creators that will be using the hashtag Love Summer Art, so that people can find loads of different art, loads of different artists, just by typing in that one phrase. Would you call it a phrase? I don't know. But anyway, just by typing that into the search bar at the top. There are some quite big names in the YouTube art community that are taking part in this, and one of those people, Patty Tolly Parish. Hi Patty! We were talking on Facebook the other day and she asked me if I would be doing any videos for that as well. And I've been kind of thinking about it, but wasn't entirely sure. And then I realised that I had a stack of stuff on my desk that I'd been finishing that week that I could film and use for the Love Summer Art project thing. So I thought, yeah, you know what, I'm going to put a video up and off we go. So, as you know, if you've been watching my recent videos, I have become mildly obsessed, and when I say mildly, please read very, obsessed with my jelly plates. I've been selling a lot of things on eBay recently, because of my fibromyalgia. I can't wear high heels anymore. Well, I can wear them, but they hurt every single joint in my body, so it's just not worth it. And prior to becoming ill, I never owned a pair of flat shoes, so I have a lot, and I mean a lot, of heels that are just sat there looking beautiful and not being loved. So I thought, you know what, let's pass them on to somebody else who can give them a loving home and wear them out and look fabulous. So I made some money, and I spent said money on the Big Daddy jelly plate, the 12 by 14, and I've been printing some fabric on it, which is pretty awesome. So I've cleared out stuff that has been sat there untouched and unloved, and I've used the money on something that is certainly not being unloved, something that's getting a lot of my time right now. So I'm super pleased with that. I am selling a lot of other things. I've had a lot of weight gain since having the fibro, so I'm selling a load of clothes that are too small for me. I've decided there's no point in holding on to them, because if stroke when I ever lose this weight, then you're not necessarily going to be the same shape you were previously. So they're sat there and they're making me sad because I've put weight on. So I was like, you know what, they're going as well. So I've decided that any money I make from selling this stuff will go into the art fund, because it's something that makes me happy. So if you happen to see any sort of haul videos or anything up and coming, I don't have one lined up yet, but if you do in the future, over the next couple of weeks, it's money that I've made from selling stuff that I don't use anymore. Yay! So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at what's been keeping me out of trouble, allegedly, for the last few days. I missed the beginning day of it. This Love Summer Art thing started on the 17th, which was yesterday. But I was very poorly yesterday, so there's no way I could have even strung a sentence together for a video. So, fashionably late, here we are on the 18th, doing one of these videos. So, stop rambling, Lee, and get on with it. Here we have a pile of awesome, and I'll show you this one as well. Pretty pile of awesome. So I have been using my jelly plate and printing on fabric to make journal covers. And what I've been doing is using the jelly printed pages to make a signature. I've only made it as one signature, but I quite like that it's kind of chunky. I made it as one signature because of the way I've bound it, and I wanted that to be the binding. I didn't want loads of strings or ribbons for the signatures. I just wanted the one. And if I just move, I've made a little tassel here with an offcut of the recycled sari fabric. They stitch it together, all the offcuts, and make ribbon out of it. So I've made a little dangly tassel, which you just have to play with it. You can't just look at it. You have to do that. But I've done just an ordinary one whole pamphlet stitch. So I've gone in from the outside because I wanted my tails outside. Hang on, let me undo it and I'll show you. I added this extra bit on. No, I didn't. I lied to you. Sorry. I didn't add this extra bit on. I kept it longer because I wanted a closure around it. So, what you do, if you don't know how to do it, and this is the easiest stitch in the world ever, you make a hole in the middle of your book, through the signatures or signature, and through the cover. And if you want your tails to stay on the outside, then you go from out to in. If you want them to be tied on the inside, you do the opposite. So with your needle, you go in through the hole, out of the hole, and round. Then you go right the way down. You skip this hole, you go right the way down, around, and then you put it back through the middle. So both tails come out of here, and then you tie it off. I tie mine off 3 times because I'm slightly paranoid. So, again, not slightly. So I always tie just 3 basic knots. But I wanted to leave it long enough so that these tails can then wrap around and tie up there as your little closure for the journal. So I've used a piece of fabric that I jelly printed, and if you're wondering what the stitching is there for, it's not just decorative, it's because I have folded this over here to make a little pocket, so you could put something else in there, or if you wanted to put another notebook in with it or something, you could slide hang on, let me grab something that I can show you. Okay, so let's pretend that this is a notebook that you want to have inside of said book. You could just slide the edge. Obviously it wouldn't be this size, but to keep it in there you can use a pocket. You know what I'm talking about, really. So I have done one of those front and back, just because it's always handy to have a little pocket there. And like I said, these are just jelly printed pages. I'll just flip through them quickly. So you could use this as a journal, you could use it to put photos on and have like a funky background to the photo. You could do a bit of both. You could use it as a basis for an art journal, because if you're like me, you're a little bit, not intimidated, but a little bit wary by a load of blank white space. Then, you know, you can already start off with a design, and then your creativity can flow around that. So, you know, there are lots of different things that you could do with it. That's the middle, and then obviously it's repeated on the other side. Really simple, but fun to do, and I think it looks kind of cool. So then you can tie it up. I'm just going to do a loose knot, but you can tie it up, and ta-da! So I did that one. The first fabric one I did was this one, and this is some fabric that I dyed with my first jelly print outing. Again, it is using the sari offcut ribbon. Again, same basic pamphlet stitch on there, and then I've made a little tassel to play with and just put a little charm on there because it looks pretty. So same thing, just different colourway. Pockets, front and back, just like the first one I showed you. And again, more jelly printed stuff. This one has some blank pages as well. I've actually got a an idea in mind for this one. So, but yeah, it's more of the same, basically. It's got some yummy texture in that one, so that's why I've already earmarked it for a project. So there's that one. This one I was playing around with just sketching, and I use a just a plain A4 sheet as my roll-off for my brayer. So when I put the paint all over, you put the paint over the top, you've got paint on your brayer. I brayer it off on a on a separate piece of paper, and it makes some really cool backgrounds. So I've just used the card that I printed on, or I was using to print on, as the runoff, and then you don't waste the paint. You get all this yummy design, and then I turn it over so that you don't end up with a white space. I'll use both sides as my runoff. This one I have bound in the same way, but I've used the art yarn. It's still the recycled fair trade sari offcuts, but this is the threads rather than the ribbon. So I've bound it with that, and I've made a awesome little tassel to play with on the side out of that yummy sari offcut ribbon. You can see there that, hopefully you can see there, that they just stitch two bits together, and it's all in these different yummy colours and patterns. So more of the same. This one's got front and back, and this one is done on card, whereas the other one I showed you was done on paper. So there we go. And then I was sketching, so she ended up on the front. Then we have this one, which is a bigger size. This is an A5 size. Again, printed fabric, same stitch. I didn't have enough on the ribbon for the binding to make the closure, so I had to add another piece of ribbon. But I like the fact that it's the same colour family, but one's lighter, one's dark, so it kind of complements. You can see that. I don't know what the lighting's actually like. It's a nice sunny day today, and I don't know how much good that's doing my camera angle, but mustn't grumble. And this one doesn't have pockets, so there's no stitching. It was just enough to meet there and cover the pages. And this one's a little bit different. These are all the runoff sheets. So where I've cleaned off my brayer, that one's great because it's got kind of scrunched up and messy and it looks awesome. But they're going to make awesome background pages to put art over the top. So whatever you want to do with it, use it as a glue book, make collage, like I said, put photos, you know, all sorts of things that you could do with it. That's the middle, and then it just repeats the other way. So that one's quite skinny in comparison, because that was all I had. All the colours went together nicely, and I thought, you know what, all that matches, so it's just going to be bound in one thing. So we have that one. This one was something a little bit different for me. I decided I was going to do some stitching onto card rather than fabric. That's not something I've done. I haven't stitched on paper since I first started using a sewing machine at school, and we were supposed to, like, there was lines to follow and you had to follow along, so that's going way back. And I thought, well, you know, why not? I had these offcuts, and you know, they're too pretty to throw away. What can I do with them? Well, I'll make them the front design on the book. The card is actually an Amazon envelope. Hang on, let me show you. In case you don't know what I mean by an Amazon envelope, it's one of these, you know, that they send books and stuff in. And they have different sizes. Well, I keep them because they're a nice weight to make book covers out of, and I'm all about the recycling. So use some black paper over the top, and then if you can see here, I marked, I think it was inch intervals, and punched with my big bite, and then use the same sari ribbon to threadle, and that goes threadle, thread, whatever, even if that's not a word, okay, you know what I mean. And that goes all the way around the outside. And I've used some more sari yarn. I don't know if you can see, it's not coming up marvellously, but it's a lot prettier in real life than it's showing up on the camera. So that's what I did, and I did some jelly printing actually with the kids. They got pretty bored quite quickly actually. I think we managed like 15-20 minutes and they'd had enough. So off they went to do something else and I carried on printing. So again, I just bound the ones that I did with them, and then this one I folded it in half. And this one was on card, this is on paper. And I use my sewing machine just to stitch zigzag along those two edges, that's the word I want, and cut a little thumb notch out of there. There isn't anything in there, but it gives you a little pocket, and that is the centre of the signature. So the binding threads go down into the middle of here, so you can't see it. It's all nice and tidy, and you know, there's more yumminess to play with. And this was a braided off piece I picked up off of my my craft mat. I don't remember what I was doing with it at the time, but there was excess paint, so I slapped some paper down, picked it up, and then just used little alphabet stamps to write a sentence. So there we go. And I love the way that one has come out on the front. The other thing, well, I'll show you very quickly that I've done these as well. This is using plastic dividers that I make my stencils out of. So the same thing, same stitching, but it's just got a plastic cover and it's got jelly prints inside. And then this one is something a bit different really for me. I've used a jelly print on the cover. I've used some funky tie-dyed duct tape because I love tie-dyed stuff. Same way of binding it, you know, the basic pamphlet stitch, but then I've left this bit long so I can just wrap it around as some kind of closure. But this one is quite thin. It's made of brown packing paper. If you ever get a big box from Amazon with things in, you can guarantee you're going to end up with half a forest in packing paper in there. So what I do, hang on, I'm just going to grab a sip of tea. How very English of me. What I do is, it tends to be perforated. You know the stuff that I mean? That's in a big long roll and it's perforated into sections. I separate them out, section by section. The ones that stay intact and don't rip or tear or anything or have holes in, I keep for art purposes, and the ones that have rips and stuff in go in the recycling bin. So it all gets used. This is another Amazon envelope, I believe, as the base. And then I've used a jelly print for the inside liner. And then there is just 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets of this packing paper that I folded in half. And it's been printed on. Because I thought, well, that could be interesting. Let's see how it comes out, how it works. I love the sound that it makes. So there you can see the two tones of the ribbon where they've been stitched together, which I like. So it's quite thin, but something a bit different, and I love the sound of it. So and there we are, there's that one. And then the last thing isn't a book, it's something else. I'll show this first and then I'll tell you about what I was going to tell you about. This one I just printed the fabric when I was doing a run of fabric printing on the jelly plate. As soon as the 12x14 arrived, I was hunting through my fabric cupboard for plain fabric that I could use to print on. And this was just a little offcut, so I ended up using 2 little offcuts, stitching them together, folding it over because that's the selvage edge, so I wouldn't have to hem it. A big button here. This offcut, I just made a little loop, and then I put that on the top just to decorate it. It's just a little pouch. Cute little pouch. I've no idea what I'm going to use it for as yet, but it's cute. And it was something to do with the offcuts rather than making them into another journal cover. So there we have it. It's a cute little size to shove in your bag for something or other. So I'm not entirely sure, but I will come up with something for it. So what I wanted to talk to you about, now I've shown you all those goodies, is I have been seriously thinking about opening up an Etsy shop. I've had a few people ask me about the stencils that I make and other bits and bobs. How do we order it? Where do we go? What do we do? We want this stuff, but we don't know what to do. So I thought, well, maybe I should try this whole Etsy thing, and if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. At least I've given it a go. So I've not set it up yet, but I am thinking of having small packs of the stencils that I make as like a selection, rather than doing them singly. I might do sort of, I don't know, 4 or 5 in like a set that all complement each other or go together. And as soon as I work out how to do the listings, then I'll do one where you can kind of pick and mix like 4 or whatever, you know. But I was also thinking about listing some of my jelly printed books to buy in the Etsy store. I don't know if you guys think that's a good idea or not. If you think it's a good idea, then please comment and let me know down there in the comments. So we shall see. But all of the items for sale book-wise that I'll be putting into my Etsy shop will all be recycled materials. So the paper that I jelly print on will be 100% recycled paper. Any cardboard as book covers or backing for fabric covers, that will be recycled packaging. Again, the art yarn and the sari threads are recycled and fair trade. I've also got in contact with a company who produce paper out of recycled offcuts of t-shirts. In India they use these offcuts and make cotton paper out of them. So I'm interested in getting hold of some of that and working out costings and things, because I would like to make art with it and send that out into the world, because there might be people out there that will enjoy it, but I want it to be recycled, repurposed, and fair trade, you know, something that can help other people who aren't in as comfortable a situation as I am. You know, I'm far from rich, far from well off, but I've got more than a lot of people in this world. So if I can do something that makes me happy and that can give to other people and benefit them, then I'm all for it. So yeah, that's my thought process, that's my plan. Like I said, if you're interested, then drop me a line in the comments. I will do another video showing you things that I have made with this paper. It's not arrived yet, but I've bought a small amount to play around with. So yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there and see what you guys thought. Share my goodies that I've been making over the last week or so, and stick my oar in with this hashtag lovesummerart thing. So there we are, there's my offering for it. I might do some more throughout the week, it depends how I'm feeling. But if you type in, hang on a second, just talk amongst yourselves. Trust me to be, you know, prepared. You want to be typing, if you're interested, you want to be typing, and I'm hoping that's going to read the right way, because I'm looking back at it and it's the other way. Hashtag lovesummerart. If you're a content creator, then if you put that in your description, loads of people will be able to find it, and people who maybe don't know about your channel, then they can be introduced to your world. And if you're looking for things to watch that are art related, then a lot of artists are doing this project. So hashtag lovesummerart. Unfortunately, hashtags don't come with links. They're not attached to things in YouTube, apparently. I don't know much about this, to be fair, so you just have to type it in. But if you type that into the search bar, you're going to get a lot of channels, a lot of artists, a lot of content creators who are participating. So that's what you need to know, and hopefully it is reading the right way and not backwards like I'm seeing it on my screen. So there we are. That's my video number 1. I hope you guys liked what I showed you. I hope you all have a great day. Today for me is Saturday morning, so it's only 9:30. So I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you later, guys. Bye.